ladies and gentlemen, a special conversation with author Sanjay Jha on his new book, 2024, India in Free Fall. Why is he being so pessimistic about India? I'm asking him that question. Take a look. Welcome back. We are welcoming Sanjay Jha to the studio. Sanjay Jha, thank you very much.
Pleasure to be here.
Sanjay doesn't need any introduction. He's livened many debates here on Mirror now, so thank you very much for that. But you're here for a special reason. You've written a book, 2024, India in Free Fall. Great timing, great timing. But why the pessimistic title? I mean, we are a country poised to be the third largest economy in the world. Why is India in free fall? Why the pessimism?
Well, Shreya, firstly, the timing is providential. You don't write a book timing it for a pre-election. But I must admit, HarperCollins, full credit for them to get it out at the right time, so to say. The India in free fall, the title actually is deliberate. It's a bold title. And you know, Shreya, frankly, the reason behind that is because I'm a big believer in the fact that this is a great country. And in my opinion, has an incredible future. But, and this is a big but, I think when you scratch the surface of India as it exists today, I think we are hollowed out. There is a dark underbelly of our country that I think we need to talk about. And we need to talk about it without any fear of retribution and without any fear of consequences. And I wrote this book because I felt there were a couple of moments in the last couple of years that actually devastated me. And I'll give you one to begin with. You know, on the 15th of August, when we were celebrating Mr. Modi's Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, when Bilkis Banu's rapists were released, on that very day, when India was celebrating, the Prime Minister spoke from the Red Fort. And I had followed the story of the Gujarat riots, etc., very closely. I knew what Bilkis Banu had gone through. I asked myself, have we sunk to such an abysmal low that we can actually humiliate a woman awfully, miserably years ago, and then repeat that dastardly act by actually getting the convicts out? To me, that was, you know, in a great number of ways, one of India's lowest moments post-independence.
Was that the trigger for the book, or was there something else?
Well, the trigger for the book actually happened when I was visiting my daughter, actually, when she was studying in Manchester. And I write that in the prologue of the book. And I was returning. It was the hottest day in Europe, and there were no taxis available. I had to catch a train, and I had a flight back to Mumbai. And I asked for an Uber. And there was this taxi driver who came, and he looked at me, and he wanted to make a conversation. I was in no mood to chat because I wanted to get to the station and get to London. And that conversation, which I write in detail, was really gut-wrenching. And I realized, Shreya, that, you know, we are sitting in a TV studio and we interact so often, and there are so many people in India who talk at cafes and social media, etc., etc. But there are so many people who have stories to tell, who are not even living in our country, who are part of our fraternity, and who have tales to tell, and which, frankly speaking, you realize needs a voice. And I don't think this character will probably know that he's featured in a book, because there's
Why don't you tell our viewers about him? He's a taxi driver that you meet. He's a Uber driver that you meet.
Yeah, he's a taxi driver. And, you know, he spoke to me, and I asked him, you know, we got into a conversation, and I assumed, because most of the taxi drivers in Manchester there are Indians, but majority of them are actually from Pakistan. And I looked at his name tag, and I assumed, like, you know, we all have this stereotypes we create, right? And I thought, well, he is, you know, a regular Pakistani guy. So, you know, we chatted, but we didn't go too far. Then he asked me, you know, we got into a conversation and discovered we are both from India. And I asked him, when did you last go there? And that's where he begins to tell me. And, you know, Shreya, I kind of felt, what does it feel like to have a home in your own country that you are somewhere down the line so segregated from that you haven't even visited? And the memories that you have aren't really the most pleasant.
So let me just quote from the book. Your titles are very interesting. Let me quote from one. Wait, let me just get to the place. This is Lal Singh Chadda. You write about Amir Khan here, and you write about Lal Singh Chadda, and you say the truth is India has weaponized hate and demonized minorities. What we were seeing was partisan trench warfare with Bollywood being the soft target. Amir was going to be paying a huge price for it. But it wasn't just Amir.
No, it wasn't just Amir. I can tell you the reason why I mentioned that in the chapter is because I think at the end of the day, whether you are an Amir Khan or a Shah Rukh Khan, as we discovered, as we all know, or whether you are that unfortunate person who was caught in a van accused of trading cattle and who paid a fatal consequence of a mob lynching attack, I mean, you are looked upon with a great degree of suspicion. I'll give you an example, an anecdote from my own company. An outstanding guy, lovely human being, giving you bear hugs, celebrating, Ramzan with biryanis for everybody in the office. He doesn't work for me anymore. And one of the reasons is that he's a family guy, and he appeared to be extremely anxious about the fact that his family was very concerned about him. And he's now moved over to some other country in the Middle East. He's doing well for himself. But we miss him. And, Shreya, can I be honest? We could not hold him back because there was no way. I told him, don't worry, this is, things happen, there's a passing phase, etc. But I realized that tomorrow, God forbid, if he just burns out, maybe nothing happens to him physically, but just emotionally he's exhausted, or he's just living a life of fear. Is that really worth the while? We didn't hold him back. He's there where he is. And I think there are so many such tales of individuals in our country that somewhere down the line bothered me. I'll be honest with you. I tell myself this very often, Shreya, that I'm lucky. I'm so privileged. I got a convent education. I live in Mumbai. I did my regular MBA. I worked in foreign banks. I'm comfortable, right? I'm part of the urban elite of this country. And I asked myself, what do I do with this privilege? What do I do with this? Just go to a club and, play tennis, write an article, go on a television program and be happy with that? No, I'm not. I just feel I need to do something about that. Therefore, for me, politics, if you notice, I've put a lot of stories there, is about what you give back. This book is actually my way of telling the people of India that, beyond the razzle-dazzle of all the hype and hoopla, look deep within.
But the fact is, you pin a lot of what is happening in India to Prime Minister Modi. What you cannot take away is the fact that people in this country trust him and will be voting him back once again. How do you explain that?
Well, let me tell you this. Mr. Modi is popular, cannot be contradicted. It shows in the numbers. But, It's not just popularity, Sanjay. I think it's also trust. Yeah, but, I asked myself only one question. I can make a laundry list of things, and, I have been critical of Mr. Modi and his politics, and I'm very outspoken about it. But, I'll give you just one example. That, let's look at Manipur. Okay, here, can any prime minister or president of any democracy, in whose country, some part, maybe distant, there was an ethnic violence that killed hundreds, made thousands homeless. And if that leader were to not visit that state, I would be appalled. Somewhere down the line, I ask myself this question very often. And if you notice that I bring up Manipur very often when Mr. Modi's skyrocketing popularity is talked about. Because to me, it's baffling, it's mysterious. Because if I was in his boots, or I believe you were in his boots, I think we would be there within days, if not weeks. And it just kind of, to me, is like awkward as to no matter what the compulsions of time and space, as to why the Prime Minister of India did not go there to heal the wounds. To my mind, the role of a leader, notwithstanding Mr. Modi's popularity, and he may win the third term, good luck to him. But, I believe that I respect any leader who stands for his people in an hour of crisis.
I get it. But he's winning a third term. And that tells us not just something about his popularity, but also about the fact that he's getting something right.
Well, I'm just going to probably...
And the other side is getting everything wrong.
Yeah. No, I'll answer that. I'll put a footnote. A week is a long time in politics. Let's see. Is Mr. Modi getting many things right? Yes. I mean, undoubtedly, he's got the ability to convince people that despite all the allegations, humongous allegations on the Adani group, he's okay. Electoral bonds, the most opaque instrument of political funding, which could be the source of corruption in this country, Mr. Modi is unaffected. Manipur, Mr. Modi is unaffected. He doesn't talk to the wrestlers protesting for a sexual harassment case against one of the BJP leaders. He's okay. So there is something Teflon-like about him. But sometimes, and I need to say it very honestly, yes, the opposition could do much better. Yes, I know a lot of institutions could do better. But sometimes I also ask myself that could we as members of civil society and ourselves do better? Because, at the end of the day, it also tells me something about what we are possibly becoming. Is it fear? Is it just are we self-centered? Or is it just the absence of an alternative? Maybe it's a combination. Or maybe it's the charming, captivating qualities that Mr. Modi has. It could be anything or a combination of all four. Either way, I believe a country that becomes so tolerant of, what I call as these racial or cultural or ethnic or caste kind of bigotry, then I think we somewhere down the line have to tell ourselves honestly, please don't say it's a mother of democracy to begin with. Be humble. We are a work in progress. We've got a long way to go.
How do you negotiate family conversations? I met your brother in New York, I think it was in 2019. Right. And he's a card-carrying BJP member, a huge supporter. Yeah. Raises funds for the BJP as well in New York. Yeah. What are conversations the family like? Because, it's many families. Till before 2019, I don't think we knew what each other's ideologies were. Now we are all acutely aware of what the other person thinks and where they lean politically. What's the family dynamic like with your older brother? He's a BJP supporter, you're a Congress supporter, and the twain shall never meet?
Yeah, twain shall never meet. He is, by the way, a really hardcore, vocal, ideological voice for the right wing. And why not? I mean, it's a freedom, fundamental right, why not? I am, to be honest, a complete contrarian. And I don't think there's any question of us even talking about a common ground. Yes, we do look alike. We have both been bankers. We both worked with American banks, actually. And we are polite. We are civil. He's elder to me, and I think we've had a great relationship in the past. But I have to be public about it, that if we get into a political conversation, if at all, it happens unwittingly. You can't avoid it, really. I think we try and skirt it and keep some kind of a distance. But I cannot deny this, that yes, there is an element of discomfort because, end of day, when you have an ideological incompatibility, somewhere down the line, it is a manifestation, I think, of a larger, shall we say, difference in the way you look at life or the way you look at relationships or the way you look at other people. For me, I think I look upon one reality, which I need to tell you because I have been at the receiving end of a party that has been losing for most of the time since 2014. But one thing that I feel still good about, even when the chips are down, I feel you're batting or battling for the right side of history. There is a phase. No one in politics is a permanent winner. The Congress wasn't. The BJP won't be. And nobody is a permanent loser. It's a question of how quickly you can recoup your lost ground. And I think on that front, I have been disappointed with the Congress that, they haven't fought as aggressively since 2014, woken up belatedly to the game. But let's keep our fingers crossed.
Is Rahul Gandhi really the right man for the right job?
Well, you know what? I was actually one of the reasons that got me suspended from the Congress was that I batted for Sachin Pilot. And I told the Congress, and I said it publicly in an article in the Times of India, that the Congress needs a Sachin Pilot and a Priyanka Gandhi ticket, the two people to take on Modi and Shah, with Rahul Gandhi actually an asset, but as an ideological ambassador for the Congress party. If you look at Rahul, he's phenomenally at home in these yatras because, his heart actually beats for the poor, the disadvantaged, and the disempowered, which I think is a great asset for a leader of today. The question is that in politics, Indian politics or any politics, you need a combination of some ruthlessness, some degree of efficiency, a soundbite, tactical, strategic, a lot of navigating, relationship management. It's a whole plethora. It's a laundry list of skill sets that you need to take. I think Rahul struggled there. I really like him. I think he struggled hugely on some aspects. I think he's made up a lot of lost ground. His political brand is rehabilitated. I just hope that, end of day, the Congress realizes that it's the job of the party, and I meet a lot of people who tell me, who are angry with the Congress, but they say, listen, you guys are critical of Mr. Modi and the BJP, but you are the only people who could really, lead the attack to stop them. And you have not done enough. So I do feel that Rahul and the Congress leadership team does need to ask themselves this question. There are a lot of people who are angry with you, much more than probably they're angry with the BJP.
Correct.
Because if I was the BJP, I would do exactly what Mr. Modi says, obliterate the opposition. I wouldn't do it with Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed politics, but I would marginalize them. I would try and beat them. That's my whole objective, right? Because I believe my ideology is what the country needs. The Congress, unfortunately, hasn't pushed back enough. It's happening as we talk. Is it too little, too late? I hope not.
Your book's title is fairly pessimistic. My last question. Are you holding out any hope at all?
I do. I hold a lot of hope for the country, and I'll tell you why. When I was in my career, I got offers to work abroad. I refused to do so. And because I just feel that this country is incredible. It's amazing. It's a beautiful country. And, I get angry with the BJP because, they don't understand that the diversity of this country is its real USP. The fact that, my wife, by the way, is a Gujarati, that itself, in my opinion, it is a reflection of a Bihari from Bihar in Mumbai with a Gujarati wife. Most of the households, in Bihar, in Mumbai, have Biharis who are not in the corporate sector. Most of them are.